Minister Sergei Lavrov has accused Israel of supporting neo-Nazis in Ukraine, a day after stating that Adolf Hitler had Jewish origins. It marks a sharp departure from Israel's previous attempts to mediate in the conflict. Alec Pollard has the story.
The diplomatic spat between Israel and Russia continues to deteriorate as Moscow doubles down on the controversial comments made by Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov on Sunday when he claimed that, quote, even Hitler had Jewish blood, drawing sharp condemnations from Israel, especially Foreign Minister Yair Lapid.
Lavrov's comment is unforgivable. Hitler wasn't of a Jewish descent and the Jews didn't kill themselves in the Holocaust. We are doing everything we can to maintain a good relationship with Russia, but there's a line, and this time this line was crossed.
Russia's foreign ministry responding with this rebuke Tuesday, tweeting, "We paid attention to the anti-historical statements of the head of the Israeli Foreign Ministry, Yair Lapid, which largely explained the course of the current Israeli government supporting the neo-Nazi regime in Ukraine." Attached to the tweet, an 800-word document attempting to justify Russia's position, mainly that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's Jewishness does not contradict Russia's stated goal of denazifying Ukraine. The statement says that, quote, while Jews were forced to collaborate with Nazis during the war, Volodymyr Zelensky does this consciously and voluntarily, hiding behind his Jewish identity to support neo-Nazis, spiritual and blood heirs of the executioners of his people. Russia gives examples of anti-Semitic incidents in Ukraine and claims that the number of such incidents in the country are more than those of all the former Soviet Union countries combined. These explanations will surely not be accepted by Israeli officials, as Israeli-Russian ties, which have gotten progressively worse as the war has gone on, continue to deteriorate.
Будьмо гей за волю, за долю, за правду. Будьмо гей по першій, по другій, по третій. Будьмо гей, сам ти гей, за Юру, за Юлю, на долю. За Ляшка, ось моя була, браття мої. Завтра йдемо танцювати, затанцюємо, мова, сила у нас є. Ще не вмерла Україна, поки крепко є. Борщ, сало.
After a lifetime of involvement, Kevin Wilshaw is unpacking his Nazism. So what do we have here?
Various bits and pieces and artifacts from my past.
From well-known National Front organiser in the 80s to white supremacist groups earlier this year,
that was on the wall in the bedroom.
Wilshaw has flown the flag for a racist worldview.
Bust of Adolf Hitler, yeah.
And tell us about your mum.
She is from Rotherham. She served in the ATS just after the war.
And she was Jewish?
Yeah.
And tell us about your mum.
She is from Rotherham. He served in the ATS just after the war.
And she was Jewish?
Yeah. Her maiden name was Benjamin. We do have Jewish blood in the family on that side.
And what's this?
That was my application form for the World Union of National Socialists.
I'm of the opinion that the war against the enemies of my race, the Jews, needs to be waged on a global scale to be effective. When you wrote bracket the Jews, were you thinking of your mum?
No.
But why not?
Because that term, the Jews, you're presenting a global faceless mass of people. You know, you can't personalise it. You can't see an individual there. That's
not even your mum?
No. Decimalisations, that all happened a few years before. They wanted to put the clock back. And then the skinhead craze kicked off. We basically got a hardcore skinhead following who were more radical, I think, than the oldies. And then it got a bit tasty.
Have you ever hurt anyone?
Yes. I sort of rejected that, pushed it to the back of my mind.
Well, you carried on, though, with your involvement in these Nazi groups, despite that, though.
Yeah.
That is a remarkable lack of empathy, right?
It is, isn't it? Yeah, I think it is.
How did you manage to disconnect that? Your worldview, the people, the face at the end of it, the black face or the Jewish face?
Basically, I think I was rejecting it because I wanted to belong.
After the National Front, he joined the BNP. After that, became what he describes as a freelance extremist.
There had been no warning.
Flirted with dangerous fringe groups like the Racial Volunteer Force. Remembers coming across David Copeland, the Brixton and Soho nail bomber. Wilshaw was arrested for vandalising a mosque in Aylesbury in the early 90s. As the far right splintered, became more and more isolated, took to social media. In March just this year, arrested for online race hate offences. Left with a life revolving around his keyboard and speaking at fringe demos.
I haven't stopped, and I won't stop.
But all the while, Kevin Wilshaw had a secret. And over time, that secret started to erode away at his intolerance. So at this point in your life, you're a Nazi.
That's right.
With a Jewish background who is gay. You're a Nazi.
That's right.
With a Jewish background who is gay.
It's a contradiction, isn't it?
I mean, it is. To
This is the strange thing about it, because it has always been part of the narrative of the racial nationalist movement, but it's been contradicted by the fact you had people like Martin Webster leading the National Front who was overtly gay. And nobody could see the contradiction. It had an overtly gay national activities organiser leading a homophobic organisation. It doesn't make any sense, does it?
You want to come in? Come on then, dear. You come into the meeting.
Сало, цибуля, хрін, сивуха, браха. П'ю, їм, я п'ю.
And then you got somebody like Nicky Crane, probably the hardest person I've ever met, who was gay.
I first had sex with a man when I was 26.
Коханці, засланці, всі гляньте, тьфу на них, артисти, стилісти, геть з міста, ще дай помади, гей паради, а в раді всі такі, я хочу, не можу, за сало.
And yet, even when people found out he was gay, they rationalised it some way. Think, oh, he's either he's not really gay, or he's gay but he's okay. You know what I mean?
Experience he's talking about.
I've done it myself.
Matthew Collins now works for the anti-fascist group Hope Not Hate.
Завтра йдемо танцювати проти москалів. Затанцюємо, бах, сила у нас є. Ще не вмерла Україна, поки сало є. Борщ, сало, цибуля, хрін, сивуха, брага. П'ю, їм, я п'ю.